Okay, hey everybody. I just want to share something quickly. Um, a lot of people, when they get out of an abusive relationship, they're not sure of what to do or where to go, and sometimes they seek other things and they look for some type of instant gratification. So, uh, low. So when somebody gets out of an abusive relationship, like most people are not sure what to do. And then the worst thing that somebody could do is try to find somebody else to help them forget about their pain or their suffering, and they look for immediately another relationship. This is probably the worst thing that you could do. Of course, what is it called? A rebound, right? And a rebound is usually not a good thing. So a lot of people are confused of what to do, because usually when you get out of a bad relationship, especially an abusive or toxic relationship, they feel very alone. Some people feel helpless, they feel lost, they feel confused, and they don't know what to do with themselves, because most likely within that relationship you've given so much where you lost a sense of self. And this is where the problem is. When you lose who you are within the relationship, and then that person abandons you or leaves, or you have to leave them for your own sanity, you've all of a sudden you feel like you're in this abyss, and you don't know who you are, you don't know your purpose anymore, you're not sure where to go, what direction. And this is usually the hardest thing for most people in the beginning, because obviously you have a fresh wound and it's wide open. And the person that you thought would help you heal or never hurt you did, So this is a moment where you start to reflect on the relationship. And the most important thing is to look at all the red flags that were there to begin with, right? When somebody seems too good to be true, they usually are. Within any relationship, you have to see people changing with their moods, being happy, being sad. It doesn't matter what those things are, because everybody's a human being. So when it's a point where that person's just happy all the time, you're not getting to know that person for who they really are, And then when things really start to go downhill after the honeymoon phase, then you're really just confused and trying to hold on by a thread to what you believed was true. So when you are finally out of the relationship, people feel in a fog, they feel lost, they feel confused, and they're not sure what to do. So the easiest thing, of course, is to go for therapy, but not everybody could afford it, and not everybody has health insurance. So that's usually the easiest thing to do, and you try to find a therapist that deals with this specific thing. Now you have a lot more people who are not psychologists doing therapy. They're licensed certified social workers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But everybody's focused on one specific thing, and a lot of them don't have the knowledge of what it is to be coming out of an abusive relationship, especially when it comes to narcissistic personality disorder or borderline or anything like that. Because some people don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with those type of clients. But the people that are getting the therapy aren't the people usually with the illness. It's the people that have been the abused or the victims. So usually when you get out of that relationship, the thing that you want to do is try to go for therapy if you can. If you can't afford it and you don't have insurance, because it could be very expensive, the next best thing is go on YouTube. Follow some doctors that deal with this. Dr. Ramani is one for sure. She's an Indian woman. She's a psychologist and a doctor. Dr. Ramani, Ramani. She's probably one of the most popular ones that have the best knowledge for you, what you need to do according to those topics. Dr. Sam Vaknin. He's a psychologist. He's not a doctor. Professor Sam Vaknin. He's a self-aware narcissist and a psychologist and a professor for psychology. He's great to look at. If you're a woman, even if you're a man, Lee Hammock, Mental Healness, has great videos that cover the surface of everything, of what just naturally happens during any type of narcissistic relationship. Then you have also for the men who have dealt with the women, Cluster B Milkshake is on YouTube. She shares how she feels and what she, has done, coming from her mind. So she's been doing a lot of self-aware work, which is great. So these are some great outlets on YouTube to look at. There's plenty of more. There's so many more, because now narcissism is open and out there, where everybody's trying to cash in on it. Unfortunately, this is how it always works. So then you have YouTube. You have a therapist. What else do you have? You have books. There's plenty of books out there. The thing is, you want to look at the book that you think addresses what you're going through the best. Okay, so, and then from there, have time alone. Connect with nature. Get yourself in some type of routine. It's kind of hard with the whole COVID thing, but go out for a walk. See if you could take a class of some sort. If you like to read, if you like to draw, if you love music, try to just find something that you could connect to that could get your mind off of things, not another person. That's the rebound thing you want to stay away from. If you have family, if you have friends that you really trust and know care about you, connect with them. Be with somebody that cares and wants to listen. Don't go to somebody who goes, just get over it. Move on. You'll be fine. It's like, it's the worst thing to hear is when somebody's like, get over it. It's like, that's not compassionate at all. So, if you have anybody in your life that will listen, and, you could just listen, not even good advice, just listen and care about you, that's important. So, I've done some other videos that are on here and on YouTube, and those address the healing process, what to do, grieving, and all that stuff. But most people are like, what do I do in the beginning? I miss that person. Of course you miss them. That's the trauma bond. You focus on the honeymoon aspect of the relationship, and you think that person could come back, and that person never existed. So it's really difficult, because you were made to be so special and so loved, and so that person was so attentive to you and cared, and all these things, which is all part of the plan to manipulate you, right? So understanding that through radical acceptance is like the first part to letting go, and that's super difficult, but we have to be honest with ourselves in the situation, because if you take them back, the situation never gets better. It just never does. As they get more comfortable, they'll start to pretty much treat you the way that they feel, and that's all that matters. However they feel is what they project onto you, and how they punish you or make you feel loved for that day or so. But it's never going to get better. And coming to that radical acceptance of knowing you'll never get better gives you a chance to really sit with it and move on. Being alone is not something that everybody wants to do, but also, just thinking about just being with friends, family, not looking for a relationship. That's the key. Not trying to look for another relationship. If you go to church, go to church. If you go to mandir, go to mandir, which is Hindu temple. If you're Jewish, go to a synagogue. Try to be around stuff that's uplifting, for sure. Because if we stay home and we start to ruminate, the depression and self-worthlessness starts to grow, and that's not the thing you want to do. So I just was reading something on Facebook where this is like the common thing when a person's like, what do I do? Do I go out with friends, go meet some guy at a club or whatever? It's like, or a bar. It's like, that's not what you want to do. It's not going to help anything. But knowing how you feel, understanding it, and trying to get help is the first step. And that's probably the most important thing. And as we go through this process of healing, don't ever forget it. You're not going to be a paranoid person where you don't trust anybody again. But when you know the signs and the red flags, never give anybody the benefit of the doubt. Listen to that intuition, and make sure you don't let that person in such a way where they could start to manipulate and hurt you. Once you start to see them for who they are, from now having a greater understanding and knowledge of how this all works, because it is kind of like a playbook. They all do the same thing with the charming, the mirroring, the love bombing. All this stuff is just innate to them. especially if they're unaware, but it's still part of their nature no matter what. So you need to see that so you don't repeat it, so you don't become another victim over and over with different people. You know, it's like you keep meeting the same person with different faces, and that's not what you want. And don't self-sabotage yourself for the next person. You know what you deserve, and know your boundaries, know what are non-negotiables, where from there on in you create healthy relationships. And if that person is not healthy, you know to help say, okay, that's it, I'm not going to allow this. All right, so hopefully some of this information is useful and you can use it for the future and to help you heal now. All right, thank you everybody for listening.